my new bookcase that I got. Look at that. If you're interested to find out what's in my bookcase, let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you about the genre of books that I read. But for today, I want to talk about these books. Anyway, guys, I hope you're having a nice Halloween or harvest this fall. And I wanted to share some books that I've been reading or I have read. I read in two formats, on Kindle and actual books. I prefer actual books just because I like holding a book in my hands. I also like flipping the pages and just sitting down with a book, a good old book. I know a lot of people are not readers, so the reason why I'm doing this video is so that to encourage you to read, because it's really good for your brain and your mind, and it's also, believe it or not, a relaxation. It's also a way of learning a lot and becoming well-rounded, and sharing with others. So, for example, I share what I'm reading with my friends on Goodreads, which is a software app. This is not sponsored, by the way, but I use an app call on my iPhone called Goodreads. And what I do there is I download any books I want to read. I just put it on a list. It also keeps track of how many books I set goals for myself, like how many books I want to read per year. And if I meet the goal, then I just add more goals to it. It's an opportunity for me to give a review on a book, also read other people's reviews on a book, and I can associate myself with other readers and join other book clubs, or just be with my close friends and family like I currently have it. But anyway, this I found that I have read a lot of books, and this year I'm really surprised. I went from nonfiction to fantasy and young adult genre. I don't understand why. I just know that I just started reading the Brandon Sanderson collection, the Mistborn collection, and I got so intrigued by Sanderson's world that he created in that series of three books, and the heroine and the main characters in the book captivated me, or the creature, or the mystical creatures, or the adventure in that book. And I love to read a good book like that. So I went down that rabbit hole, and I've been continuing through that rabbit hole. But I wanted to show you some of the books. I also wanted to show you that I got a new bookshelf, and I'm so happy because I don't know if you saw from, when I cleaned out my room, that had a little gray bookshelf there, a little metal gray bookshelf. And I basically outgrew it. And I had hidden books too, like in different places. And now all my books fit nicely in the bookshelf. So I'm really happy. But anyway, getting back to this. So one of the series that I've been into has been the Harry Potter series. Because when the movies came out, the books came out, I always wanted to see it, but I never got around to it. And finally, this year, I told my daughter, I really want to get into the Harry Potter series. And so glad I have. I think this is a book well written. I love the way the author wrote this book, these books, because these books can be read from anyone, from a child to an adult, and you can still really enjoy it. There's nothing nasty or dirty about it. You might, if you're a real religious person and you don't believe in ghosts and goblins, well, maybe this is not your genre, but it's still, I feel like, pretty clean and a little spooky and all of that. It's about wizards and witches and goblins and all kinds of creatures. But what I like about the Harry Potter collection was that in the first three books, and I'm going to try to remember from the top of my head because, there's a lot of reading that I've done and it's hard for me to remember a lot of things. But in the first book, what I saw was that Harry was a child that was, his parents died and they gave him over to his aunt and uncle, and they were really evil and mean to him. And basically, he was like their servant or slave. And I think he was going to regular school, and then he became of age enough to go back into where his parents really came from, which they had a gift of wizards. I guess they were wizards and they had that gift in them, and there was a wizard school. And so when he became, I think, 12 or something like that, the wizard school kind of knew that he turned into that age, and they went and grabbed him and took him to go to his school of wizardry. And at first, it was nice because he ran away from these, basically, is taken away from these evil people. And he's put into the school, and he finally meets some new friends, and he finally is in a school that he's liking, and he's liking what he's studying. And even though he's scared, he's finally in a place where he's not being abused so much, which was it's kind of sad, really. And it made me think about the author. I wonder if she's gone through that herself at some point in her life, just because the book kind of represents between good and evil too. And so I don't know. But anyway, in book two, what I see is that Harry finally has friends. He's comfortable with his friends, and he's learning how to use his wizard skills. And he's learning a lot about, you know, that there's also evil in the world, and that there's also evil wizards and stuff like that. And so he gets himself into a couple adventures, and he gets himself out of it. In book three, he finally finds the sports that he likes, which is Quidditch, and he finally has encountered some really serious characters in the book, and then he overcomes, and it's kind of like the hero. And now I'm in book four, where he's a little older, and now he's finally, not so much with his uncle and aunt, but more like spending time more with his friends' parents, and going on these events with his friends' parents, and really enjoying his friends more. And so I haven't read a lot about book four, but that's where I'm at. I'm sure that there's something else going on here. And so that's the Harry Potter collection. Another collection that I've been reading, which I found really surprising, was called Lies of Locke Lamore. And this is about a young boy who was an orphan, and his parents also, I think, passed away. And I don't know if he was poor or whatever, but it's like the setting, I think, is like early France or Italy. And it goes back to like old English times, or like 1800s, maybe 1900s. I don't know. That's the feeling I'm getting for this book. But what I like about it is that, he's in an orphanage by a thief maker. That's the name of the person who captures him. And he soon realizes that he has a lot of talent, especially the talent of counting money. And so he takes them, and Locke creates a lot of problems for him, for his initial owner. And so he gets sold over to a priest, supposedly, which is also a thief, but he's pretending that he's the priest of a place called Camor. I think Camor, that's the city that he's in, well, he begins in. And pretty soon Locke finds himself connecting himself to like people from the mafia underground world. And he starts doing jobs for them. Eventually he gets in so much trouble that he ends up escaping into the seas. And then he becomes like, learns how to be a pirate, and then he does a bunch of adventures there, which I found really interesting. And anyway, but he also gets poisoned to death, and he's bound to these, lords that have power, and he is trying to save himself. And so now in book three, he is over his pirate ship, which was book two, and now he's in a place where he's just with his one friend, and he's dying, but then someone comes in and tells them that they have the antidote to take that away from him, but in with certain conditions. And so I think now he's going to go back and get back some of these people that have hurt him in the past. So it's been really good, that series, and I have enjoyed it immensely. It's not for everybody because you're talking about old times. It's not based on a true story. It's all fictional. But I love him, his character. I grew to love his character and his friend's character, and how he uses his cleverness, how he disguises himself to portray all these different characters, how he gets out of serious situations. And so it's really been interesting. So I recommend it, highly recommend you giving it a try. The Lies of Locke Lamore. Remember, there's 3 books to this. And then another book that I've been reading was, I saw this book, Children of Blood and Bone. I saw this book in Walmart, and I was really attracted by the binding of the book, and that there's a girl with white hair. If you can see, that's white hair. It's floating up in the air. And it turns out that it's the storyline of a warrior girl in a tribe, and she's being trained to fight and being trained to keep the traditions of her people and the mystical religious belief systems and the chantings and all these spiritual powers that they have. And these people are spread all over the Africa. I'm thinking that's the continent that this is being based on. And she comes across a king who wants to kill her and destroy all these people that have this power, these magical powers. And she's finding herself that she has to defend her people. And so, yeah, it's her fight against the king. And then the king grabs her. A lot of things happen to her. She goes through a lot of adventures as well. And she finally escapes the king. But when she escapes the king, she doesn't realize that the king's sister runs away and bumps into her when she's running away. And so then in book 2, it picks up where she has to trust this sister who's the sister of an evil king, and to later on find out that the sister and the king both have powers as well. And they are also part of this Orisha powers and chantings and part of these traditions, but they're opposed to one another. And so she's trying to figure out, why is this king so evil when he's also part of our people? He also has those mystical gifts. And so it's like one adventure through another. I love it. There's mystical creatures. In book 2, it ends up with a cliffhanger that I was not expecting. And I'm like, what the heck just happened when I finished this book? And I picks up on book 3, and she ends up being also on a ship, being taken away into some foreign land by another king. And now I'm finding out that there's 2 kings in these foreign lands, a good king and a bad king, and good people and bad people. So I'm in the middle of it. It's not done yet, but it's I'm glad that I got them because they're great fall books as well. Then I have this one, which is about some crazy person who, let me read a little bit about it. It's called, It's Bad Enough Waking Up in a Half-Destroyed Evil Wizard's Workshop with no eyebrows, no memories, and no idea how long you have before the dread Lord, whomever shows up to murder you horribly and then turn your skull into a goblet or something. So I haven't even started reading it. It's called Dreadful by Kaitlyn Rosakus. I picked it up because, again, I really like the cover, the colors of the cover. There was a sale, but I didn't end up finding another book. So I'll have to keep you posted on that one if you're still interested. And then I got this font. I went to New York to the Strand bookstore there. I went to New York for a wedding, and this was a signed copy. I did read the first chapter, and it's about a girl who is sibling to 13 others. And for some reason, her parents, she's the oldest, was giving away to another person who she calls her godfather. But he's, I can't tell if he's a mystical creature himself or an alien being of some kind. And for some reason, he has an evil way of celebrating her birthdays. So, in chapter 2, it goes into a little bit of her history with her parents. That's where I left off. I haven't finished it because I have all these other series that I'm still reading. This one, I'm still reading Locke Lamore, and I'm still reading Harry Potter. So, there's only so much reading I can do, but I wanted to share that all these books are mystical and fun. Another book I read was The Spell Shop. I found this book to be so cute. And again, I picked it up because look at the cover. Isn't that such a cute cover? You have like some little stairs going up into the forest into a tiny little cabin. That's so cute. And then it has a little bird in the front there. And then look at the pages. They were purple. I'm like, who's not going to pick up this book? So I find it so interesting. And it was a story about a girl who worked in a library, a massive library. She was also, it's so weird that I've been reading books about people that have been, they don't have parents, they're orphans, which is funny because I'm an orphan. I lost my parents already. Well, I wasn't an orphan, but my parents both have passed. But same thing here, where she lost her parents and she's working at a massive library, and there's a revolution going on with the king of a kingdom, and he wants to destroy the library books because they have magical powers that they don't want other people to know about, and they want to get a hold of it. But instead of getting a hold of the books, they want to destroy them instead. And they go in there and they take the books they want, and then they want to destroy the rest. So she decided to take the spell books and all the books that teach you about making trees grow and food grow and all of that. So it's really nice. She gets in a boat and she goes back to this little island that's hidden, and she's hiding all these books. And then this land is losing its forest, it's losing its fruits and all of that, and she starts growing it back again. And there's also a love story and a lot of mystical creatures like horse mermaids, and oh, it's so nice. And I would love to see this in a movie. I think it would be an awesome movie. And so I gave it a 4 because definitely very clean reading, very good for your kids if you want them to read something spooky but not too spooky. And then this is another book I read called The Crystal Run. I kept going into Ollie's, this store named Ollie's, and I looked at the book like 3 times, and I finally said, I'm going to buy it because I just love the picture. Look at the picture. It's a castle, and then it has a big orb over it, like an egg. And then there's 2 moons, and you could see a world over it too, and 2 kids in the center of it running. And so what it turned out to be was, again, a young American boy ends up falling into another dimension and transports himself into this castle where they're training some kids to be runners. And the runners are kids that are running through lands that are enemy lands, and they're supposed to meet at certain locations to plant a type of crystal that they have. And that crystal puts a shield over their castle, and that's what you see there, the shield. And it protects them. And so these kids go on this run, one adventure after another. What I didn't like about this collection was that when the author went from this book to this book, Shield of Lies, it wasn't a smooth transition. It was like, what the heck? But then it picks up on the Shields of Lies, and it did pick up where it kind of hang off and kind of picks up here. And then they're continuing on their run here. And again, second book again ends in a way that's kind of like a cliffhanger, like there's another book coming or something. So I'm gonna continue reading it because I want to see what happens to them as a couple. So yeah, this was also full of adventure. They're running, they're still in their run, they're still fighting evil people, they're still trying to hide from the people that are trying to get them. So that was that. And then on my Kindle, I read a book called, I read two more books. One of them was called 214 Palm Street, which was a murder mystery. That one was about a woman who ended up sneaking into somebody's house to later find out that her husband was part of a major crime that was hitting many, many years ago. And so she ends up uncovering that murder and bringing justice to it. And then the other book that I read that was kind of interesting was called Into the Heartless Woods, another young adult series. It was a boy who lived in a small cottage in the woods with his father and his little sister, and he kept hearing like singing voices or like an enchanting voice that would mesmerize him. And these witches, I think they were like witches, tree witches. That's what they were. They were part of the trees themselves. They would entice people into the woods and then they would kill them. They were like Dracula witches. That's what it was. But the storyline is kind of based on Beauty and the Beast, kind of. That's the feeling I got. It was really interesting. It was weird. It wasn't really my cup of tea. But I did read the book all the way to the end. And I mean, if you're into that, it's also like a king in a castle, an evil king fighting an evil witch that had a past history together. And then there's a love story in between. So yeah, so that was also a book that I read, and that was it. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. And also to let you know that reading is important in our lives. I know a lot of people don't like to read, and so I'm going to hopefully inspire you to, if you don't like to read, to at least find a book that you think you're going to find really interesting, that you think you're going to really like the topic. Don't just pick any book and say, oh, I'm going to pick this book and read it. No, pick one that's going to really entice you, that you like the cover, that you like what the little message is giving you about the book, the little blurb about it. And if you're not used to reading and you don't like reading, just take 10 minutes right before you go to bed. Just take those 10 minutes right before you go to bed and read, even if it's 1 page, 2 pages, just 10 minutes of it. And even if you fall asleep reading the book, and eventually those 10 minutes are going to turn to 20 minutes, which then will turn to 30 minutes. Next thing you know, you read a book and you're going to be so proud of yourself. Because I feel books are important that we learn, and this, especially now with society and social media and all of that, where it takes us away from these old traditions that used to help us a lot be smart people in this world. And I'm not saying that you can't be smart through social media or that you're not smart. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it just helps you to be well-rounded. It opens the doors for you to communicate with others. It's a way of learning new words, for example, and looking them up in the dictionary and saying, wow, I didn't know that word. Now I know another word that means the same thing as this. Or it just opens you up to other cultures. Like sometimes we can be in our own little bubble, but we don't realize that there's other cultures and other nationalities that can teach us something. You know, we can learn something from them. We can see their ways and say, wow, that's nice, you know, that they do that um, in their culture. You know, is that something I want to incorporate something of that into my own world? You know, things like that, of that nature. Um, and it just makes you feel good too. Like the book is a way of escaping our reality too, in a way, because when we have stressful days or whatever, um, making sure that you do self-care. It's a way of giving yourself self-care. When you're going through stress in life, whatever, just take those 10 minutes are yours. They're yours to cherish and learn something new. And so that's what I'm going to encourage you. But I'm also going to show you um, a night out that we had on our Lou Gardens, where we went, and they every year they put Halloween decorations, and you know, they do all these beautiful things in the garden, and you can walk through at night, and they have all these spooky people dressed up and scaring you. And it takes about an hour to go around the garden itself, and they allow you to have like beer if you want. If you want to have a beer, they sell popcorn, um, things of that nature. They sell sodas and things like that. You could just walk around with your family and really enjoy a beautiful night. So I'm going to leave you guys with that to enjoy. And thank you for watching. And don't forget to come back. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, okay? And thank you so much for all my new subscribers. Bye. There's a spooky frog. Oh no, there's a snake. There's a big giant snake. Oh my God, look at the snake. Whoa, I just felt something on my leg. A spooky over here. It's a spooky. Oh, wait for me, guys. It's a spooky. Oh, there's water there. There's a water. We're just looking for the place. This is spooky people here. Oh, the water's really high.
Oh no, Jessica, watch out.
Watch out, Titi Jessie. It's a grew in the tree. Yes. Oh, wait.
Incoming transmission.
Where? Oh. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's acceptable right now. Whoa! No, no! Whoa! Oh my god, that's scary. Thank you. Whoa. Take a picture in there? No. The wincy spiders are all over the place. What? With the wincy spiders, they don't get you on your head. Wincy spider. All over the place. I'm getting out of here.
It's okay.
Spider woman. Oh, that's a giant spider. Hi, giant spider.
The Venus flytrap.
Wow, that's a giant plant. Hi, plant. Say hi to Teddy, Leo, and Lincoln. Whoa, that's a giant octopus upside down.
Wow.